Welcome back to the BFR Podcast. Thank you for joining in today. We're going to recap the last and final episode of Hard Knocks. But before we do that, let me introduce myself. I am Ficky, the co-host of the BFR Podcast. And our other co-host, Dave, is currently out on vacay still. I think he's actually, this might be his last day, but he was on an Alaskan cruise, which looked fantastic. The views look crazy. Maybe a little too cold for my liking, but like views wise, that shit was killer. But I am joined by our producer and fill-in co-host Jack, and you can follow Jack on Twitter at JackScroggs_, and then you can follow me, Ficky, on all social media at It's Ficky Baby. All right, so let's get into it. First thoughts on the final episode of Hard Knocks. Jack, what did you think of this episode?
Right down here. That got me fired up. Without trying to ruin the rest of the episode and what we got coming. I mean, oh man, that was a good one. But you know what took me back was what we saw with the cuts. Yeah. You even mentioned, like, we don't watch that anymore. Yeah, and so when they started walking into the room, I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, are we going to see these people cut?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was definitely crazy. And obviously it sucks. But like, besides that, dude, oh my God, what an episode. What about you? What do you think?
No, I agree with you because like I said, I was surprised that they actually showed the cuts. But I think what's very important here, which we'll get to this particular person, the GM Ryan Poles, but he was literally cut in that building. His last day stepping on an NFL field was literally with the Chicago Bears, which is crazy to think about. So just to see that he has that perspective, you saw that with how he handled the cuts with these players, right? It felt, I don't know, throughout this series, I've grown to like love Ryan even more. Like from a tactician standpoint, a strategic standpoint, I've already been on board with Ryan Poles because he's made some crazy moves, improved this roster tremendously. But like, we kind of knew he was like a good person, but like this whole series like really solidified that. And we saw parts of him that we had not seen before. And it's kind of hard to not like root for the guy. And I always view that like with any business, anything that's run, it always starts from the top down. Leadership, 100%. So the fact that you have someone like that running your team, does it equate to 10 championships? Maybe not. But does it remove some of the nonsense that would come through with other GMs? Absolutely. So all you're doing is mitigating your risk and giving yourself more of an opportunity to then go get those 10 championships, right? So having that type of person leading this team, it has me hyped as hell, right?
Oh, yeah.
I just love it. Like, it doesn't matter the quarterback. I mean, it does, but like, even from the first year, seeing what he did, how he handled the Justin Fields trade, you know what I mean? Or that whole situation. Like, once reports come out, it seems like this guy gives a fuck about his players and his team from a human standpoint. And we saw that throughout, particularly this episode.
Yeah. Do you feel that about Eberflus too? Because I sort of got that impression and the vibe as well. Like Eberflus, at least to me, we always knew he was sort of like a team-oriented coach, you know what I mean? Like, we knew about the nicknames and stuff, but like watching him during Hard Knocks, I feel like he's just been like, I mean, he really connects with the players, unless they're all like full of shit and they go behind his back and they're like, this this weirdo honey seller is a creep, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I like, all seriousness, I think Eberflus and Poles together, dude, I think they're like the ideal landing spot for any player. It's what a situation that is.
I'll throw in one more who will be grateful to have him for this season because I think he's gone after this. But Ian Cunningham, right? I think Ian, Ryan, and Flus together, you can't ask for like a better, I would say, like player friendly. Doesn't mean they're not hard because we've seen Flus go crazy on his players. But like at the end of the day, these are humans, right? And what's important, I view, is that if you can respect, which was one of his like 3 big rules, right? Like be respectful and like have the empathy for these people. I feel like that's how you get the best out of people, right? This isn't the 1920s where you just, scream at these guys and macho man, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? The whole time, like you have to really, you have to connect with people and people are vulnerable and you have to understand their weaknesses and all this stuff. Like there's a psychology to it. And them doing that, I think is going to reap rewards for this team. You even saw how they reacted. Some of the players like Adrian Colbert, when he got cut, it's like, you brought out the best of me. I'm going to take this and, moving on to the next team. And then you see players that come back like Austin Reed, where it's like, yeah, you also brought the best out of me. I'm so grateful. And you're hoping that with that respect and that level set that they set for these players, that you do get the best version, because that's what's important, right? It's not just about drafting players, right? It's about developing them. And I think developing them, and that means getting the best out of players. And I think being empathetic and actually understanding that these are humans, I think that allows you to do that. And I think we've kind of seen that with Ryan Poles. And that's why the draft, we viewed them all as successes, but some of these players weren't necessarily successes right off the jump, right? Kyler Gordon took a little bit to get into his mold, right? Velas, which was talked about throughout this episode, you see how the coaches are like, wow, like this was not an easy transition. And it seemed like they were excited as hell for him, you know what I mean, to be on the squad. So what do you feel the same?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same. I mean, again, for those of you who don't know, I am a 3-time high school baseball player. I'm as professional as you can get, and I've been coached. But all seriousness, I think that what you just said about like them just earning like the players' respect and things like that, at least in my experience, I'm sure 99% of people would agree, is like when you have a coach or someone, like even a boss at your job, when you feel like you have, or you want to impress them, like, and just get like that pat on the back from that guy, you'll work 99% harder. 100%. And so Poles just 100%. I don't know if Eberflus totally does. I'm sure for a player there it would, but like at least for Poles, man, just to like, even if I was watching that back and Poles was like saying the shit he said to Colbert about how great of a character and spirit and stuff like that, I would be like, job well done by me, But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's a great environment, and go Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. Go Bears is correct. And it's really important, right? Poles came into this year one and had to kind of, and Eberflus, they had to create a culture. And I think last episode, Ryan Poles talked about, he's like, what I learned was this culture isn't me coming in and, saying this is what we do, this is how we do it. It's about coming in and bringing in the right people. And when you bring in the right people, you create a group think, which then creates the culture, right? So I'm just really excited about that, because what that means, or what that can equate to, is that this team could be successful for a long time, right? Again, we have to see it, but like when you have that mindset and you bring in the right people and you treat people well, right? That is a recipe for success year after year after year, right? You're just refeeding the cog because your environment is set up and it's healthy. Great businesses, right? Great businesses stay great because they have great leadership and they hire great people. So I just love to see that, because this Bears team has not been like that for a while. They've been dysfunctional. Tons of coaches we could talk about in the past, GMs that maybe weren't so great, right? And there's dysfunction there. So I know people are probably like, wow, these guys are going on a rant from a psychological standpoint, but I think that's low key like the biggest takeaway from this whole series, which I think could actually like catalyst us to getting further than what many expect.
Absolutely. You want to give a shout out to this random fan?
Yeah. Who the hell is this? No, this is Dave on our co-host, right? I'm sure I don't have to explain that, but he said, boys, cheers from Canada. Appreciate it, man. I think you just got back.
I'm not geographically like correct here, but don't you have to like go around? How do you get to?
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay. I'll check a map later. I'll check a map.
Yeah. Well, like, how the hell did you? I'm sorry. There? I have no idea. Plane, I think, right? Big Mike here on YouTube said also, Ian deserves his own episode, rarely gets credit, and has given up huge opportunities because he knows Chicago's a place to be, mainly because of him and Poles. I agree. And Ian Cunningham is going to get a job at a GM. I think for him to leave this situation with his boy, Ryan Poles, it has to be the right place. It's not just, here's a vertical jump, I'm just going to go there. It has to be something that is better, or the opportunity is at least equal to the environment that he's in right now, because they see what they've built here. And so I think that opportunity will come next year. It happens every year, and I think he will take that step, and he should. We would love to see ascension. And I think Poles talked about it last episode, or he's definitely talked about it. It's like, hey, look, I want people to do great here and then move forward. And that's, again, another sign of a great leader. You develop people, you develop your coaches, and you let them ascend and grow. And it's just fantastic to see.
Absolutely.
So speaking of great things, even though that may have been the best part of the series, what's your best part of this episode 5 of Hard Knocks?
Tough. I'll go with the first thing that came to my head. It's sort of a cop-out. That final scene, when they threw that song on, I forget what it's called, but
that's a beautiful song.
Damn. Dude, I was like sitting there. I almost was like a baby, man. I was like, this is my team. These are my guys. Like it was so damn good. Like every part of that, just like we get city cuts, we get our guys cuts, we get voiceovers, we get to see Caleb pulls this, that, DJ, Rome. Oh my God. Shout out HBO. That was so damn good.
Couldn't have ended on a better note. And then Caleb putting on the helmet, he's like, oh, let's breathe. And then you hear that like
I'm listening to that before I sleep.
Echo with a reverb.
Yep. I'm going to put that scene on and just loop it. Just relax.
Oh my God. It gave me chills, bro.
It was really, really good, man.
No, HBO knows what they're doing. Choosing that song, the Chicago song, which they used, I think, in episode 1.
Correct. Yep.
Or they may have used in other episodes, but ending it on that, like it's a slow, it's like 80s vibe. So you really feel it in your feels. Like they knew exactly what they're doing. Actually, you want to bring that comment back up? Because this was one of mine as well, was the montage of Caleb throwing back to back, like in the practice. And it would like throw and show the wide receiver. And then it zoomed back to him behind the line of scrimmage again. And beautiful. I love that.
Maybe I'm an idiot. I got confused. After the third throw, I was like, I don't know what. I was so confused on who was throwing. And
that's funny.
I was like sitting there. I was like, who is I literally had to pause and rewind. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
All right, HBO, you confused. You confused
Jack.
So I'm going to dock you points on that. No, I think it was just Caleb for most of those.
Right. You remember the huddled part when he was like huddled, I think, and talking to people?
Yeah, and then it went back.
Throwing again.
Yeah, I love that.
And then I was like, I did not know what was going on.
I don't know why that's so funny because I'm over here like, oh, I love that. Jack's like, yo, I don't even know.
I was literally sitting here. Yeah, I was literally like, I don't know what's happening. But that was cool.
No, that was definitely. Yeah, I love that animation stuff because they've done that a couple on episodes where they do like this unique animation that I have not seen on other Hard Knocks before. So I just love that. Yeah, shout out to HBO because they did a great job. I mean, obviously they've killed it before. That's why people love Hard Knocks, but like they did a really, really good job this year. Okay, let's see. Here's my surprise best part of the episode.
Okay.
Because I've been high on, maybe high is not the word, but people have been low on this person going into this year. And it makes sense. Like I get why you aren't high on Velus Jones, but you cannot walk away from this series and not, particularly this episode, and two things, not be rooting for him because it's hard not to, and also not feel confident. Not that he's going to be 1,000-yard rusher, not that he's going to have 50 catches or 500 yards, but that he's going to contribute on this team in some sort of way, which will be impactful. And that's all you're asking for from Velus Jones at this point, in my opinion. If he can contribute on special teams, contribute on offense, that is fantastic. Like where's your confidence with, let's do this. Prior to Hard Knocks, where was your confidence with Velus Jones? And then after seeing this series, where is now your new confidence with Velus? And let's go 0 out of 10.
Okay. So before honest to God, like 2 or 3, like I just never saw him, especially after like the Keenan signing. And then especially with the Rome draft, I was just like, he'll never see the field again. He was irrelevant to me.
That's fair.
Shout out Dante Pettis, but he was as equal to Dante Pettis in my eyes, at least. After the show, I don't know. I'm going to put a question mark on my rating because we've talked about this and I brought it up myself, was like, if they're permanently moving him to running back and he's done being a receiver, because that's what I sort of assume, that he's not getting the Debo role and that he's just sitting in the running back room now. If that's the case, it is crowded. It's crowded in there. I don't know if he has as much opportunity to like explode the same way Roshan might, or especially like DeAndre Swift might. And so it's like, how much time are you going to get on the field if you're not playing receiver and you're just being running back? Now, my understanding as of last week was that he'd be that Debo build of like running back receiver and sort of flip flop and then special teams. But then when they like cut to Velus and had like Velus Jones Jr. running back, and then the running backs coach is sitting there saying like, you're going to be in this room now. And like, it's not that you're not going to be a receiver anymore. It's that you have a new opportunity. So like, that's sort of my viewpoint is like, if he's permanently running back and not playing both, I mean, obviously he's a great player and they saw it too enough to keep him on the roster, but at least that's my opinion. What's yours?
See, I thought the other way. I think though you're right. I think before he was a wide receiver that maybe got a handoff a season, right?
Right.
I think now it's the other way around where it's like you're primarily a running back, but you still were a wide receiver. So it's not like you lost how to catch a ball, right?
Right.
So what I'm thinking is like wide receiver jet sweeps, screen passes on first down that act as a run, RPO screen, you know what I mean? Like things like that where, okay, he's not doing a full route tree. Maybe he's not running a post route in a 9, you know what I mean? But he's going to be used more in the like, hey, let's get the ball to you quick and let you use your best ability, which is speed and size. You know what I mean? Specifically at the wide receiver, like the DBs you're going against, you're going to be definitely bigger, thicker than a lot of those DBs. And so broken tackle here and there, 6-7 yards, stuff like that, right? On first down, which could be huge. So also you saw the special teams. They talked about that throughout,
right,
which is good, right? Backup gunner. Obviously he's going to be on kick return of some sort of fashion. He's excelled at that ever since he's been in the league. So I just think it's great to see. Now, again, I know the expectations aren't like, this isn't running back 1, right? But to see Chris Morton, who's the running back coach, like go all in and like, no, I'm giving you the ball as cool. Much like, you know what I mean? And it's like Jennifer King's over there smiling. It's like they truly, again, it goes back to this. It seems like, again, we could come back week 8 and we're ass and I could get shit on. But it seems like at this point, they have the right people in the rooms, right? That care about their players and really trying to develop them. Not saying they wouldn't be, but like, it just seems like that. Hopefully that can equate to wins on the field. And like Velus Jones is a key example of that because on a lot of teams, 2 years in, 3 years in, not much, you're out of here. GM says, you know what, whatever, you're out. But you saw how Ryan Poles reacted when they were talking about Velus in the beginning of the episode. And he's like, oh, we're alive. Basically talking about like Velus, his redemption arc. Like this is my guy that I drafted. It is exciting to see. So temper expectations, of course. I'm not saying like Velus Jones is breaking out, but will Velus maybe reach his potential of what you thought from a 3rd round pick? This could be the year. And if we don't see it this year, then, I'll probably be out on Velus then because 3 years, that's plenty enough to show me kind of who you are, right? There's not that many people that bounce back after 3 years unless you're in positions like quarterback, right? Where it can take multiple years to develop. So I don't know. Maybe I am sipping the Kool-Aid, but I'm higher on Velus. If before I was maybe like a 3 to 4.
Yep.
Yeah. 6, 7. Like on confidence of like, he can have an impact on the team. Not
I love it.
Yeah, good not spot. 6 to 7. Like that's production wise, like numbers, right? But like, will I walk away this year and be like, yeah, Velus should be on the 53 next year? That's what I'm feeling like, a 6 or 7.
Can I ask you a question that made me sick? But I have to ask.
Absolutely not. This is a podcast.
I have to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you trade Velus for a 4th? So can I preface?
Sure.
First, it made me sick because the fact that it's different. Everything's different. Life's different. People are different. The fact that Fields at most is a 4. And then he's like, I am not letting Velus go for anything less than a 3. That like blew my mind away to think, and we're probably getting Fields for 6. And so for him to say that, I immediately went to Fields. I'm like, what? There's no way Velus is like a better resource for teams than Fields is. So that made me, I literally just like, I like paused the TV and just put my hands in my head, like thought for a minute. I'm like, what the hell am I missing here? What? So go ahead.
Fair enough. First of all, the weight of a quarterback is definitely way higher, right? We saw Sam Darnold got traded to the Panthers for like a second and a fifth or something.
Right.
Like that. So people oversell. Right. Totally agree. But I think the circumstances are completely different. And the fact that Poles basically, again, if we award him for being a good human, right, I can't be mad at what he did. But he was like, look, and this was confirmed, hey, what teams do you want? Like, what's the top of your list? We'll try to make the best happen, right? The top of his list was the Steelers. So the leverage was not in his court. Steelers are like, well, look, obviously this is where he wants to go. So this is what you get. So I get it. Yes. But here's my thing. We miss out on maybe a 4th rounder or a 3rd rounder for Fields. Okay. He's not going for a 2nd. A 3rd rounder for Fields. But his methodology and the way he approaches players and whatnot might be more beneficial than sacrificing your values for a 3rd round pick. You see what I'm saying? Like, on paper, it makes sense, but like, and there's no way we could track this, right?
Right.
But does that equate to like Poles being like that? Is why we have such a healthy roster, such a healthy environment, and have potential right now to be a really good team is because of decisions like that. Can't really grade it. You can't track that. I don't know every move and every thought that's gone through Ryan Poles' head, but I guess that's just how I take it. So I feel better about the decision that's made, but I totally get it. Cause you're like, damn, just give me a 3rd.
I can't get there. I sound like the devil, but like a sick man, a sicko. But
I get it though.
Like, if Fields went for a 3 and he went to Atlanta or whatever, and like just because he didn't want to go there, as fans, we would be like, oh hell yeah, this is great. And then the players would also be like, don't feel too bad for him. He's probably starting, because at that point they'd have Kirk, and so he would have been starting, and then it would have been like you know what I mean? Do you get that?
No, I feel you. Here's my rebuttal though. I'm just not thinking right. Does him making that move and then it being public about like how he kind of put Fields first in decision making, does that attract players to accept trades or want to be free agents for this team? Because there's definitely times, and players say it all the time, they're like, yeah, I was not going to go to that. They offered me. A lot of people will chase the money, which is fine, but like there's times where players will be like, yeah, I did not want to go to that organization at all. I knew they were a shit show. I'd rather take less money and go here. So does that move attract people like Keenan Allen, where it's like, oh, sure, I don't mind being traded here? Or in the future where someone has a no trade clause, right? Or they decide to let that go so they can go to the Bears or something like that. You know what I mean? Again, won't be able to track that, have no way to check metrics on any of that. But if we start to, obviously winning matters too. Obviously teams want to go to winning organizations. But if we continuously see like players want to come here, it could be a part of it. A part, not all of it. Like having a quarterback who looks phenomenal, an organization, like if we win a good amount of games this year, like that, all those weigh in. But I don't know if it hurts as much as maybe what we think. Because again, it's a 3rd round pick at best, maybe a 4th.
Fair enough.
I want picks though, because he nails them. He's done a pretty good job with them. So I agree with you. Yes, a 4th and a 3rd sounds way better than a 6, which is most likely what we're going to get this year. So
this is the definition of agree to disagree. Like we'll find the pros and cons. Nothing's perfect, obviously.
Well, hopefully, I wouldn't wish injury on anyone, but hopefully Fields gets 51% of the snaps, and then you know what? Maybe we won't feel as bad about it. Because if that's the case,
I hope he gets hurt for some reason. I think we were just going to lash out on him. I was like, whoa. I was about to turn my camera off and flip you.
No.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Not trying to get canceled this early, and the season hasn't even started yet. But Alex Hamilton here on YouTube said, Michael wants to come here. He said on his podcast, so if you don't get paid and reaches free agency, he's a Bear. Yo, that would be crazy, but I'm not getting my hopes up for that.
At all.
I'd rather be surprised like Khalil Mack, like just someone. Actually, all these trades have been no one that we've ever thought were on our radar. So
Keenan Allen was on nobody's radar.
Nobody. Montez Sweat wasn't on anybody's radar either. Everyone thought we were going for Chase. I vouched for Montez, but yeah. So, all right. Well, that was the best part of the episode. Before we go to the worst part of the episode, we got to do our little read here about halfway through the show. So first off, if it is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us on a late Tuesday covering an HBO show about our football team. We really do appreciate it. Like, it sounds crazy when you say it out loud, like what we're doing, but we really do appreciate that you're here. If this is your first time, please give a like. Oh, if it's not your first time, also give a like and subscribe if you haven't. I don't know the exact number, but I know a lot of you aren't subscribed to us. Not the end of the world, but if you want to, it's free. Please give us a subscribe so you know when we have our shows. We do our shows every week. We have 2 shows. The start of the season, we'll have 2 shows for every week. That's a pregame. We'll have a post-game live. And if there's anything crazy that happens during the season, like a Montez Sweat trade or a trade for Micah Parsons, we'll go live. And then obviously we had 3 these past couple off seasons because we were covering the Hard Knocks like we are now. So again, appreciate it. And if you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified when we go live. Also, if you want to support the boys, we do have a store with plenty of fire merch like this one I'm wearing here. And that is at thebfrstore.com. We have shirts, hats, hoodies, everything you could ever want and desire. And we're working on some new stuff as we speak. So we really do appreciate that. And if you also want to support us, which we've had new Patreon members join recently, so shout out y'all, we do have a Patreon called The BFR Den. And on there we have free giveaways, access to our Discord, our Madden League, which we're going to start up here soon, mailbag episodes, private one-on-one calls with Dave, Ficky, which is myself, and Jack. And so a bunch of great stuff on there. And also you can join free if you want, just to kind of see what's going on. We do post content on there and all that good stuff. And that is the BFR Den on Patreon. Links to our store and the Patreon are in our description, and all money proceeds that go to those things, we just take that and put it right back into the show so we can continuously grow this community and keep delivering fire shows for y'all, because we want to keep improving, because we want to give you guys the best shit. So we appreciate that, and thank you all for tuning in. Now, last thing, if you are first time, go ahead and give a hashtag new face gang in the chat. Jack will make sure to pull you up before the end of the show, and we give a shout out. We do this every show because we really do appreciate y'all. And if you are a true OG, that means this is not your first time watching. It could be your second. It could be you could have watched all 91 episodes. Give a hashtag OG in the chat, and we'll make sure to give you a shout out as well. So appreciate y'all.
Nice.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Jack. Just a simple nice. I love that.
That was great.
Tito here with a $5 super chat on YouTube said, Hard Knocks over it. Oh, Hard Knocks is over and the season begins. Love watching polls already. Scouting, the man never sleeps. Caleb Williams looking good on the throws. Now we just need to win. Said it perfectly. I agree with every fucking word you said there. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see. Speaking of the scouting, I did love that Joe Shane, which you guys should watch the Giants Hard Knocks. I thought that was fire as well. But Joe Shane came up to Ryan Poles and was like, oh, must be nice to not have to worry about scouting quarterbacks, huh?
Yeah, I thought that was funny too, because I wonder if he was there to do exactly that.
He might.
Yeah, right. That was funny. But you know what else was funny about that interaction is I wonder what the Poles vibe is with other people.
Like, who's his guys? Yeah, like,
right. Like, is he? Because he was sort of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Give me the Bible. Like, stop talking to me. Like, I'm working right now. Like, he was like, oh man, you must be nice. And he's like, yep. Hopefully we don't have to for a while.
Yeah, I feel you. It's hard to. I mean, it was a short clip, but I kind of thought that too. I didn't want to look too into it, but I was like, does he fuck with Joe Shane?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, is he that guy who's just like tough guy? Like, because Paul sort of gives me that. Like, he's.
Oh, when he's about business, he's locked in.
Right, like he's yeah, good term. Yeah, he's locked in. So I wonder if he is like that around everybody. Everyone's like, I don't want to.
What I've started to learn, and that's from like watching Hard Knocks and a bunch of other stuff, is like, look at who they trade with. They typically will trade with people they like. So at least that's a starting ground to be like, okay, look at some of our trades. Maybe he, deals with those GMs. And we saw it with Joe Shane. Joe Shane traded with, was it the Commanders? Because he was, who did they trade with? I can't remember. Yeah, it was like in the 3rd or 4th round. But the Giants made a trade with, I think it was the Commanders GM, because they're buddies. So they've been talking about this for a minute.
Oh,
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like any other job. Like, you're going to do things with people you rock with. I mean, sometimes you'll do things with people you don't, but I'm sure Poles has a couple of guys, and, they all come from similar trees. So they cross paths and things like that. So, like, I know he's close with Kansas City, obviously.
Right.
That's obvious, yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. Cause I was kind of like, interesting.
Right.
It was short, but yeah, that's good though. He's locked in. I ain't mad about that. He's doing his job. We can talk afterwards. All right. Going into the worst part of the episode. I'm gonna be honest. And maybe again, I'm sipping a Kool-Aid. I was trying to write stuff like anything I saw. I don't know if I had one. Like maybe seeing the players get cut. I know what yours is. I know what yours
What it is.
Yes, I do. It begins with an S and ends with a B.
Why is she here again? Why did she come back? And
I feel you.
I was wondering if you'd pick up on that.
No, the first thing I thought of when Simone came on, I was like, oh, I know Jack is punching his monitor.
Where the hell did she come from?
Yeah, Jack is pissing on his monitor right now. He's so pissed.
At first I was like, am I watching the Indiana Fever Hard Knocks? What are we doing here? I was getting behind the scenes at Caitlin Clark. I'm here to watch the Bears. I got 10 more minutes of my last episode for the next 20 plus years. I'm not watching Simone and Jo do his hair.
But you know what? I will say this. Every Hard Knocks episode, typically, like sometimes some are much shorter than the others, right? Like you'll come for episode 3 and you're like, damn, this is only 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Every episode was like 50, or I think today's was 48, whatever. Like I think every episode capped 50 or close to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you know what? You filled it in there, whatever. But like, I got more. Like, it gave me more. So I get it though. Of course, when you rank it, but like worst, whatever. It's nothing. It's whatever.
Oh,
I view it the same way as like the Beekeeper. It's like cool. Like we've known about, and I mean, obviously covering the Bears, a lot of the stuff we've already known. So maybe we're looking through the lens of like we're looking through the lens of like Bears fans and not national media. Because like obviously a lot of people tune in, but I'm like, bro, we've known about this bee thing forever. I know he's got the honey, all that stuff. So, but I get it. Like people probably don't know about that.
Dude, I cannot believe you're switching up on me on the Simone take. Dude,
no, I'm not saying it's.
Yes, you are. Go back and watch my take from episode 1. I was like, that Simone stuff was awesome. I was like, that was so cool.
Just need it once.
It made me so excited for Jonathan Owens to like be here and them to even be in our presence. And then episode 2, I was like, all right, probably good on that. Then episode 3 with the damn jacket, and if Dave's still here, he'll chime in on that.
Yeah, like, for sure.
So then episode 3, I was like, I'm never watching the show again. Now episode 5, thank God.
He lied, guys.
She
definitely watched the show.
Yeah, dude. I'm almost glad it's over, and I never have to.
No, I get you. Again. I get you. I'm on your side. I'm saying we did not need it,
dude. You're switching.
But it was like whatever. It was short. It was
so much more time, so we can fill it in with that. What? Caitlin Clark? We brought Caitlin Clark in now. She's not a Bear.
Should have been Angel Reese, if anything. I mean, if we're gonna do Chicago.
If it was Angel Reese, I would have a much different take. That Chicago, she wasn't it.
Yeah,
it was. I assume that she went to the Sky Fever game and not another Fever game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah, it had to be, right?
That seems crazy.
Maybe
not to throw Angel Reese in there.
Maybe no, but I don't know. That's a good question. I think it was a Fever. I don't think it was Fever Sky. Because she doesn't have Chicago affiliation. She just wanted to go see a superstar.
Yeah, but now that you say Angel Reese, I'm like, that would have made much more sense.
Well, at least there's a Chicago connection. Like, at least you're like, okay. You can tie it, you know what I mean?
Right. And yeah. But anyways, of course, I'm half kidding. And it's what I didn't really have a worse part.
If you had to pick a worse, that would be like from a cinematic standpoint, or like, I'd guess a script standpoint. But emotionally, I guess the worst part, which is kind of, it's worse but best, going back to like how we view polls.
I know
but
what
like
you're gonna
say. The Colbert cut.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say it.
That was tough. But you know what I really appreciated? And it's a change of the narrative of like, and maybe I'm going like way too high level with this, but like the change of a narrative of like masculinity. It was nice to see a leader, right? A man leading an organization of men be vulnerable, right? And you saw him like be emotional. Now, it wasn't that he was bawling his eyes out or things like that, but you could tell this man was in his feels. And he wait a second. Sorry, I saw Tito's comment here. He said it was definitely a Fever Sky game and Sky got blown out. So Reese probably wasn't trying to chat. She's a stat pattern.
Yeah, we'll leave that for there. Blocked him now after that last line. It was uncalled for, Tito.
No, we love you, Tito. But we saw, with going back to Ryan Poles, we saw like something from a GM, which I don't think we've ever seen. Not that GMs haven't acted like that, but we've never seen that from a GM in previous Hard Knocks, right? And I mean, look, we saw that with players like Caleb. Caleb came in and that was the whole point. Like, oh my gosh, painted nails, like a different type of, he doesn't fit the male masculinity narrative. And it's like, bro, who cares? Like, can he ball out? Like Ryan Poles is a human too. And seeing that interaction, him getting teary, having to step away to like compose himself.
Where did he go?
I heard a sliding
door, and then I was like, I thought he was just getting like a box of tissues when he first left, and then he was just gone. And
I think he wanted to like compose himself. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand. Tito said erroneous. Tito's hilarious. But I just appreciated that, like overall, absolutely. Because I think, I mean, sure, maybe people don't care, but like as you get older, and maybe that's just me because I'm aging myself, about to turn 31 in a week, is like that's important stuff for me because you grow up and you realize, oh, you're a human. So I really appreciate that. And again, or at least I've been harping on it, and I think you've agreed. But like, oh my God, I fell in love even more with Ryan Poles as a human. I think I tweeted out like Ryan Poles might be a better human than a GM, and he's a pretty good GM. So that's
love that.
Great to see. And good luck to Colbert. I hope that's not the end of his road. So I don't know if he got picked up actually. Like I remember Rippon getting picked up. I remember that happening even before the episode, but I need to look in that and see if Colbert got picked up.
I do not believe he did.
Oh man, that's tough though. I know it's a business, but like these release days are, I could never imagine. We talked about it.
When they people started walking in that I knew were cut, like especially Colin Johnson. That was tough to watch. I think his lip was quivering too, which just made it even worse.
His eyes were.
And I was sitting there. I was like, I don't even want to watch. Like it was like a pillow over your face kind of moment. I don't even want to watch this, man. Go through it. That's what it's hard. It's hard, especially like being someone that has a moment on a podcast or like has a mini platform on Twitter. Is like the shit I say. Like they'll never see it. Colin Johnson does not know I exist. Whatever.
He needs to.
They're real people. And so like I did talk and read episode 1 and whatever, and like again jokingly. Like I sort of feel bad about the stuff I say sometimes. So I got to take a step back. But like, no, I mean, it's what you just said is the worst part of any episode of the season was like, there's no worst part. It was just a tough watch for that part.
Well, I think that ties back into the episode, but also from like a fan perspective and how we watch games. Like at the end of the day, it's a result-based business, right?
Yeah.
If Velus drops a kickoff return and the other team gets it, I'm going to be pissed at Velus. But what it's going to happen now is that like there's going to be a little bit of empathy, a little bit more. I think this show has helped. Not that I didn't have that before, but like it's really helped to be like, these are human beings.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, imagine if you were in that position and you did that and everyone came at you. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I messed something up for my job today. It's like I only have to deal with my boss. I don't have to deal with like 100,000 on Twitter. Of course, I don't make NFL money, so that goes into it too. But it's just something to kind of like think about when you approach the NFL this season. Again, you have every right to be mad. I'm not saying you can't fan how you fan, but like it definitely did kind of like peel it back a little bit. And you're like, okay, these are human, and not only humans. A lot of these guys were younger than me. These are kids. These are people like your age, Jack, like just getting drafted and whatnot. So
yeah, I know. Rome said he's 22. I'm like, he would have been a senior in high school and I'd be a junior. Like I was like, we could go to the same high school.
Crazy,
like,
right?
Yeah, that was weird. That threw me back a bit. And I'm like, I'm getting old, I think.
Wait till you hit your 30s like me. You'd be like, you used to connect with these, not like connect, but you felt like, oh, you know, that I could have still been in the NFL, you know what I mean? Type of thing. And you're like, oh my God, I'm easily getting cut. 31? Yeah. How my body moves now.
What age do we start calling you Unc?
You can call me now. I take that's wise. I already got gray, so I'm not even.
You're getting old.
Unc works for me. Yeah, we'll take it, man. I love a good Unc, but so you can definitely start calling that whenever. But yeah, overall, like I think that just the cuts were the worst part of the episode, but low key kind of like the best part as well because of how the cuts happen. They're not your typical, hey, sorry, see you next time. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our final segment before our Rotten Tomato score. So stay tuned for that because I'm actually really curious to see how this episode ranks versus the rest of them. But who is the star of the episode, Jack?
Are we doing cop-out answers or no?
We can do anything your heart desires.
Cop-out's Ryan Poles, but we've talked about it for 39 minutes and 30 seconds now. So. Let's not do him. You know what I thought was neat was this is a dumb star of the the episode, but the Austin Reed, when Ian was talking to him and let him know he was getting released, I thought, like, dude, again, he's probably 22, I would assume. That was like the most professional response from a guy who doesn't seem to take life like as serious as can be. You know, like he's always been like that funny guy, but for him to like sit there and be like, I'm glad I was able to show what kind of person I am, player I am. And then he was like, I proved to himself or to the cameras. He was like, I proved to myself I could do it. I thought that was just awesome, man. It's just his character progression, as if it were like a fictional show. His character progression from episode 1 to now, I'm like so in on him. I'm like, how do I get the jersey? Like, I love the kid, dude. He really shined for me today. And just like him saying that, I don't know why it was Ian and not Poles, I guess. I was a little.
I'm assuming that they don't do, maybe all of them they don't do, or maybe Ryan had something to go to. But I mean, I shine light on Ian. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe honestly, Ryan's like, hey, look, this is a major part of the job. Like, you need to be able to do this, right? So yeah, I don't think it's necessarily.
And then they also cut to Ryan and him being emotional and things. Then it would cut back to the Ian Austin conversation, and so it was like. It made me think, again, just like diving deep into it, that it was like happening at the same time. Like the whole thing was strange to me why everyone else talked to Poles, but not Austin. I just thought, and again, we don't know everybody, but it just, but overall question was star of the episode. I think Austin Reed, second behind Poles.
I mean, you're spot on. Like his character arc has been great, right?
Yeah,
seeing where he started and go, right? And again, people are going to hate me, but like, what Ryan Poles has built, you're seeing how these people, like everyone's reactions, at least that they showed, right? We didn't see everything, but it seemed like every reaction was like, you know what? I'm so grateful. You guys were amazing for me. I'm happy to whatever situation unfolds. You saw it with Brett Rippon, who's been in the league for a minute, and he said that was one of his favorite. Well, I think Colbert said it was his favorite organization ever working on, right? And he's been in the league for like 8 years or something like that. Brett Rippon, I think, talked about was one of his best. And so like just hearing that and then hearing how the people react, like every single person's like, I would love to come back to this practice squad. Brett Rippon's like, I'm not like, if it's practice squad to practice squad, I'm staying here. I'm not going somewhere else.
Yeah.
It has to be a full 53 active, and congrats to him. That's fantastic. So I just think overall how these players reacted was professional. Because I mean, I'm not taking away from them. Some of them, it's their own values and whatnot. But like their leader, their potential boss acts the same way. So if you treat me with respect, I'm more than likely going to treat you with respect as well, right? So I agree. I think that's fantastic. And then one last thing with Austin Reed, I think it was funny. He's hilarious. But when Bajent was talking to him on the side, it's like, well. Your girlfriend's talking about what are you gonna do when you get cut? And he's basically like, well, I guess I'll work at Chili's. I'm just like, that was
funny. So funny, dude.
That's funny as hell. Oh man, my star of the episode. It's obviously the cop outs, Ryan Poles, and we've already talked about Velas.
Yeah, like I thought about him too.
I mean, it's like, what else? I don't know. I feel like those, including Reed, I feel like those are the. Because, like, I'm already high on Caleb. I'm already high on, like, DJ Moore. Like, you're already high on these players that are expected to be high on.
Yeah, I know.
But where my growth jumped or, like, confidence moved the needle the most, it was with Ryan Poles, Velas Jones.
Yeah, fair enough. I thought DJ Moore's daughter was a mini star. I was laughing out loud.
Amazing. She's been great.
That little tiny door, dude. That whole scene was hilarious. I got to watch that back. I thought it was so funny.
No, she's been great. She has been great. And DJ, I mean, I'm so excited for DJ. But like we know what DJ's done. He's a fucking dog.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it's like my confidence was already a 10 on DJ. I'm not worried about DJ.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I have a little, I guess, a statement. This comment here from Giovanni Garcia. He says Ian is definitely getting a GM job after this season. That comment right there is the whole, like, that's the main idea of what I've said about why teams should want Hard Knocks. You get an in-depth look into organizations that you would never, ever, ever get the opportunity for unless you work there. And so it's like for guys like Ian or Eberflus or even Poles, and then you have all the players. It drives me crazy that these people are like, there's like some sort of impression that no one wants Hard Knocks there because they're a distraction. But in my viewpoint, it's like worst comes to worst, and God forbid you get cut, hurt, released, whatever, and you have no chance of getting on the team with the talent that you've shown the league through college, high school, professional level. Them being able to see your personality and who you really are, how you interact with your teammates, how they see you, how the front office sees you and talks about you. I feel like that is such an advantage for going into like job searching, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Right.
I just think that this is just more of a thing to all the 31 other NFL teams. Embrace Hard Knocks, man. There's so many people, like young guys that we fall in love with on the show, that we would not give a shit about throughout the year and throughout their career. It just wouldn't.
You think we'd be rooting for Austin Reed? Like,
not
sure,
at all.
He came in, but not
right.
No.
Their relevancy just wouldn't rise to that standard.
The problem is that a lot of this is ownership, and I'm not bashing George because I think George is, like, at least from a human standpoint, George is better than a lot of these.
A lot of
these owners. You know what I mean? Like diversity, inclusion, volunteer. Like as a human, he's at top of the list when it comes to owners. So I'm not bashing him there, but it's not like the players are like no Hard Knocks. The players seem to embrace it. And so I think what you said is absolutely right. In the fact that this happened with the Lions. People they almost become Nationals team. Like, you're excited to see this before they were good, right? They had their Hard Knocks and everyone's rooting for the Lions. Like week 17 to knock out the Packers. Everyone's like, go Lions, you know? So
people were like Dan Campbell for president. They were like, yes, absolutely.
And you can't blame them. You can't blame them. And you're going to see that again with this team. So maybe the narrative will start to change. I think the biggest thing that will make it change is what we saw with the Lions and what we hope to see with the Bears, is that the idea that this is a distraction and will push this team away from its potential is not true. That's the narrative right now.
Yep.
Lions overexceeded for sure, and they had Hard Knocks. If the Bears go on and win 10 games, you're going to look and be like, dude, it doesn't matter about Hard Knocks because that's not how you build a team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the team's built for the roster. So who cares? As long as you got the right guys in. If you have the right guys in, a camera shouldn't distract you. This is a modern day. This isn't 1995 where camera in your face, you're like, what the kind of technology is this? The fuck is this? Bro, we're literally talking right now and we're just Joe Schmoes and there's a camera in front of our face. You know what I mean? Like, this is the modern way of the world. So I'm hoping you'll start to see a change about that. And I think so. I look, you don't start another Hard Knocks series, and you also don't do a Hard Knocks division in season like they're going to do and think Hard Knocks is going anywhere. So either way, you know what I mean? HBO is going to get their money. NFL is going to get their money. Hard Knocks isn't going anywhere. So whether you want to do it or not, this is a prime example. We've been dodging it for years.
Yep.
Your time's going to come, and I will be here watching every single one of them moving forward because it is good ass television. So speaking of good ass television, if we got to rate the show, Rotten Tomato, baby. I want to remember what all of our scores were. Do you remember any of yours?
I'm really glad that we do that. We've done this once a week, twice a week,
once a week,
once a week. So we have 7 days to prepare and just shoot a simple text to Dave and say, hey, what were the scores so we can keep track? Can we
never do
it? We just sit here and we have no clue what happened last week.
None. And that's why we need Dave.
Real good by us.
We need Dave just for the Rotten Tomato scores.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Jesus Christ. He actually writes things down, which is smart.
Immature. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I think last week I gave 85 was like my earlier one. I think I gave it like an 87, I think. And I think you were like 86 or something like that, like high 80s. Let's put it that way.
I remember that.
Okay, yeah. So like 87, 85. I can't go through everything, but in essence, our order of episodes, at least for me, was episode 3 was number 1. I think I gave 100%. You gave 99, I think.
Because of Simone.
Yep. And then 3, then 1 for me.
Yep.
Because the Caleb intro and all that stuff, it was the first episode. They just did a good job. Then 4, which was last week's, which we thought was pretty good. And then 2, because 2 was not that. It was like, whatever. It was kind of boring. right? Not boring. Boring is not the right word. It just, after having 1, 2 was just a little bit of a dip. Right.
Your rankings have to be unanimous across all viewers of America.
I mean, come on, it's my opinion. It's probably right.
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the question is, though, because I think this one could really add a mix to the order. Let's start with, what are you giving? Actually, let's do this. Where do you rank this episode? And then give your Rotten Tomatoes score. So out of those 5, it went 3, 3, 1, 4, 2. Where does episode 5 lie?
3, 1, 5, 4, 2. That's my official ranking.
1, 4, 2.
Put it on the press. Yep. Fire up the
put
press.
it on the press, bro. What is
Put it on the press.
This is 1800s, bro.
Put it on the press. That's Jack's official ranking of Hard Knocks 2024. No, yeah, I mean, nothing. God, it's even crazy that like 3's above 1, because like our excitement going into that was just, I mean, it was as high. It was as if it was Super Bowl Saturday.
Yeah,
it was the same vibe, dude. So, I mean, that's even crazy. We got 3 up there. I do think that if we went back and watched 1, no, I'm not even gonna say it. That's not true. I was gonna say,
well, no, there is a little bit of it being the first,
right?
The excitement, like, of course, yeah. And that Caleb Williams Bulls intro is like ingrained in my brain. So that's
the production was good. So I don't even want to say it. So I give it 3rd out of the 5.
Okay, and so what's your score? So it had to be between 85% and 99%. Because you have a second. Oh, no, did you have a third? Did you have a third? 3, 1, 5, 4, 2. Okay, so third. So you're between 85%, and I think your 99. Third was like, 99. Well, it can't be up to 99 because it would be above 2. So it's got to be between 85 and whatever your third is, which I don't remember.
I'm getting confused. I'm getting real confused. You're throwing
it's like the cuts. It's like the practice cuts. You're just trying to follow the practice reps.
I'm
throwing the ball here.
I'm the Jonah Hill gif of like him like counting the numbers. That's where I'm at right now.
No, that's fair. How about you just give your score? We'll just say, oh, that makes sense for the third. Like, what would your first initial score?
This absolutely makes sense for third. I think it's my third highest. I think it's a perfect 90.
Okay.
We didn't get a ton of football. I mean, obviously,
barely any.
Right. But we got.
It was literally just the practice reps from.
And then we got like 2 spirals. And then I was confused. So I didn't even get any plays. I got like 2 spirals.
You're not even sure if you saw football. You were trying
I have no clue what I just watched. But no, it was really good. Again, we've covered every aspect of the episode, so I won't dive back into it and bore everyone. But
no, let's do it. We can run another hour. No, just kidding.
All right, yeah. Lock in,
just
Tito.
Tuesday night. It was lock in. Yeah. Lock in, Tito, for sure.
It was a good episode all around, man.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. I'm gonna go a little bit different than you though. I'm going 3, 5, 1, 4. All right, yeah, 3, 5, 1, 4, 2.
What?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. In the same way of the excitement of 1 and just being like, yo, what the hype, like what's coming on. I don't know that last 2 minutes. I don't know if you could, and we started the show talking about that last 2 minutes. I don't know if you could have ended the show any better.
That's absolutely fair.
I was like almost teary. I know that's weird, but like from all the emotion from episode 4, right? Of Ian Wheeler, all this stuff. This episode was all about the feels. Then you play that slow song at the end and close it out perfectly. I was like, holy shit. Like, you're pulling on my heartstrings. So I truly, and it may not be for everyone, but I truly was like, yo, this is fuego. So because of that, I think obviously my episode 3, I gave 100%. Episode 1, I gave 85%. So it's got to be somewhere in between there. I actually was going to be really close to you even before you gave yours. I was going to say like 92%.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, I'd watch that. Like if you were going to put episodes on repeat, it's 5 and for me, 5 and 4. Not 5 and 4. 5 and 3. 3, obviously. 3, we all agree that was great. I want to know what Dave's thoughts were, though, because you remember
we should have planned.
He didn't give 100% on episode 3 or like a high 90s. I think he gave like a 90, right? Or
no, he gave it like 75 because of the Simone jacket stuff.
He was
like, 75. Next gonna be really good, and it's like our least favorite one.
So that's what I was about to say. I'm like,
I would love to know what he thinks because I told him
there has to be. I would probably think he thinks this one's better. Oh no, if that's a 75, because that's our number 1.
Dude, he gave it a bad score, or like 80 or something. He did not like it for some reason.
Man, that's tough. So, and this is actually a perfect transition, and then we'll do our shout outs and final questions. But if I wonder what Dave's full grade then is, because he's definitely scored on a curve for sure, right? So perfect segue for you, Jack. How would you grade after looking at all the scores, all the episodes you've done? If you had to grade this series as a whole, what would you give it on a Rotten Tomato score?
Do you have a guess?
Let me think.
Out of 10, do you have a guess what I'm going to say?
Rotten Tomato score, I'm going to go out of 100%, and I'm going to say you're going to give it 83. Dude,
100%. That was so damn good.
Let's fucking
God. Yes. How often is it, even though this is like nonfiction real shit, how often is it that you have your first and last episodes being equally as good? That doesn't happen. Usually it's like, oh, it started off strong and it faded, or it started slow and built strong. This was so damn good. We got every single player we could ask for multiple times, except for Tori. They mentioned his name in this episode.
No, but you know what's cool? I forgot about that. That when they were doing the montages of like people working one-on-one, like that camera angle of Tori catching flip. I know that wasn't like focused on Tori.
I know
that part was like, ooh, chef's kiss.
I hear his name and I just get chills. He's my favorite of all time. Anyways, oh my God, it was just so good that it just like makes me, I thought throughout this whole episode, I was like, I cannot believe that there's a population in America that does not watch football. If somebody was like, I want to watch football, how do I get into it? I would say, yeah, just turn on the 2024 Hard Knocks of the Chicago Bears. That's what I would tell them. Go watch that, 5 episodes. It'll be 4.5 hours and you will fall in love with the game. It was so damn good. And the way they ended it, like you just said, chef's kiss. 10 out of 10, 100%.
You made a great point, because on the Giants Hard Knocks started off hot, episode 1. Episode 2, great. Episode 3, great. Episode 4, great. And then 5, because it was just the draft, like the first part of it, good. And then it was only like 35 minutes. The back end, I'm like, okay.
Vicky, I'm telling you, think of any show. Like, I would say that there's 1% of shows that start good and end good. Reality, fiction, whatever it is, it's just how it works. And oh God, they just killed it. 100%. The best show I've ever seen in my life.
You know what? That's crazy. And you've watched more Hard Knocks than I have. I've seen like the Cowboys ones. I've seen some in between. I saw a little bit of the Dolphins last year in season. Hearing you say 100%, that's great to hear. And you had lower scores than I did as a whole overall. So
again, that's me being a baby and Simone ruining my life.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, your score's your score. There's no right or wrong. But I gotta agree. I agree with you. There's no way you could walk away from this and not feel good. Like,
right. Well, at what point would you be like, they didn't show this enough? What?
Even with a lower episode, like episode 2, like overall, you're still like the other episodes made up for 2 not being necessarily that fantastic. Yep. Like, oh man, I might watch that, just the ending again, because that ending was crazy. Like right when we were coming on the show, I still was humming the Chicago theme song. Like it. Oh, God, it was so good.
Called In the Beginning? We got it, because I know it's by, I don't know how to say his name. Dojo.
I don't know, but I'm definitely adding it to my Apple.
End of Beginning. His name's Joe, because he went to my school. Shout out to Paul, but I don't know his band name. It's like Dijo.
Okay, well, we'll definitely look into it. If anyone knows, let us know in the chat. That's fire.
Yeah, it was. I mean, fire. I'm glad you agree though. What's your official score?
100%. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, there's nothing. What is there to complain about? You got the vulnerability on the back half of it with 4 and 5, and the more of the emotional pulling. Not emotions. There's emotions through the whole thing, but more of like the sad and the empathetic. More of like the somber feelings. Right, you got that in the back half, which was crazy because there's no football, so it was like perfect to do it then. And then you got all the hype, the excitement, all that stuff in like the first 3 episodes, right? So it was like a perfect mix. They like you said it perfectly. There wasn't any part of it where they didn't like touch that I wanted to see. They may have touched on some other stuff that you didn't necessarily care about as much, but like they at least covered all their grounds.
Everything, full 360.
Oh, let's get here. Jared Hinshaw on YouTube said my episode ranking is 5.2, 3.14. Interesting. 2 is
why 2? I'm trying to think.
It was because they didn't even play in that game, so I wasn't like too excited about that.
Right. So I wonder. What would be exciting about 2? The Austin Reed stuff in hindsight was exciting. Like watching his family, that obviously it was cool. I wouldn't put it above 1 or 3.
Yeah, Jared, let us know why you had 2 so high. Also, before we end the show here, let us know your rankings, and we'll take a look at them and see if we agree or not before we head out. So,
you want to hit a question real quick, Fick?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Rod D on YouTube said, "I have a question. How will Shane Waldron do first game with Caleb and the entire season?" Well, if you want to hear how we think Caleb is going to do in the first game, you need to check out our pre-game show, which will happen, I think, Thursday this week, where we will be covering Bears versus Titans, who play at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock, depending on your time zone, on Sunday in Soldier Field. Oh, my God, the NFL's fucking here. I can't believe it. I'm about to run through a fucking wall. So we're going to save that for that, but Shane Waldron, I mean, he had a good tenure in Seattle, so I don't expect it to be worse than Luke Getsy, so we can only go up. So I can't be mad about that, but we'll find out. There's a lot of questions and new variables that we don't know. New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new rookie quarterback. There's just so much that we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, and going off just my not preview.
Is that official? It's official.
Yep, it's my official not preview.
All right.
Like Giovanni here is saying, and like Alex is saying, I'm scared now. I am really, really nervous about this game because at first, go on any schedule prediction from any Bears fan, we're always like Titans win, and I'm like that. If this was any other team in the world, I'd be like, no way they win. That's my non-preview preview.
And this is my non-preview preview. Is that rookie quarterbacks are 0-14 and 1 in week 1. Do I think that's going to happen? Well, check in next time on the BFR podcast. But for real, we'll go deep into it on the next one. But that is a stat that is alarming. But guess what? There's one thing that's different, though, about that stat. None of those quarterbacks were Caleb Williams. So not a single one of those quarterbacks was Caleb Williams.
I wish you saved that line for the end of the show. I would have just cut it right now. That was good. That was good.
Okay, thanks. We're out. Peace.
Yeah, let's do it all over again and we'll just leave.
But yeah, I mean, look, that's what it is. Like you said, one of them was mayonnaise eating Levis. I think he attributed to that 0-14. Actually, no, he didn't start week 1.
What the hell did you just say?
Mayonnaise eating. Like he's a big mayonnaise guy. He's like sponsored by.
What a crazy.
He's sponsored by Hellman's. Yeah, because he used to put mayonnaise in his coffee or whatever. Like during the NFL draft, it was like a big thing.
But what'd you call him right now?
I don't know.
I just never heard it. Just threw me off. I was like, is that
I don't even know what I said, to be honest. Run the tape back, but it's getting late for us. It's 11 p.m. for me here in Atlanta. But again, we were gonna do this. This episode was too good to not talk about. It was fire. This is what we're here for. We're Bears fans. We're going to be passionate. We're fans just like y'all. We're going to talk about this team, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to be doing it all throughout the season. This is going to be fantastic. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. We might cry. We might run through a wall. It's going to be fucking awesome. And I'm just so happy football is back.
I agree. I'm a little sad Hard Knocks is over.
Oh, for sure.
Like next Sunday, it's, again, if anyone else is Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon person, like I felt the same way with like that when that ends, and you're like, what am I going to do next Tuesday? You know what I mean? Like, so it sucks.
The only difference is though
we're getting games.
Is at least we have football, so it's like hard. Like House of the Dragon ends, you're just like fuck.
I just want cool music montages of my quarterback and my wide receivers. I just want those and put beautiful music behind it, and just that's what I want.
That's fair. That's what TikTok's for. There's some decent ones on TikTok, but it's nothing like Hard Knocks.
I'm gonna miss Simone too.
It's a. You did not just say Simone.
No, I will.
I'm gonna clip up every Simone segment, and then we're just gonna make a Hard Knocks episode.
It could be, yeah. And you throw Dave's in there too. His was long.
That's hilarious.
Oh man.
All right. Well, let's get to the questions here. Actually, let's do the shout outs first. And then we'll do some questions if we have any, Jack. So actually, there's a good question on here. Someone asked, Giovanni here asked, where is Dave? Well, if you didn't catch it in the beginning of the episode, Dave is actually on vacation. He's coming back tomorrow, I believe. And I think he's in Vancouver, Canada right now. But he was on a Alaskan cruise with the family, which looked fucking fire. And obviously, well-deserved vacation. So we'll be excited when he is back. But Jack and I held the fort down for the final 2 episodes. But we'll be back to regular scheduled program. I'll kick Jack out because I'm tired of him.
Yeah,
next week. So, or this week.
Real quick. Non-Bears related. Would you ever go on a cruise, or have you ever been on a cruise?
Oh, I've been on 2. I love water.
Hell no.
That's crazy,
dude. Dave's picture made me sick in my stomach, man.
That's wild. No,
you're just like, what?
I love water. Like,
I'd rather go
not
down
to get dark. Not to get dark, but if I die, just throw my body overboard. Like,
hell no.
You don't even need to you don't even cremate me. If I'm dead, pick my body up and throw it in the ocean.
Hell no. If the lights went out and the sun starts going down, I'm going inside my bunk or whatever the hell you call it. It's not a room, really. It's like
this isn't the military. This man's locked down.
You're having
Vietnam flashbacks, bro.
Dude, I am. The second the sun went down, dude, I would just be like sitting in my room, like just try to sleep. And
that's crazy because when the sun went down on the 2 cruises I've been on, I'm literally standing at like the bow of the boat, like Rose from Titanic, just looking at the water.
You did that?
Myself. Yeah. I just stand out there and look at the water. It's so peaceful.
Dude, we gotta get you on a cruise and I'll go along and just record you. I want to see you just like
listen, you could do that for any part of my life and you would be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I just want to
see you stand up there with looking like Rose from Titanic on a cruise by yourself. That's what I want. We do have 2 more questions if you want to hit them real quick.
Yeah, of course. 24/7 here on Twitter, which I will never call X, which I probably have in the past. So don't come for me for that. But question: Carnival cruises or Royal? That's a great question. I've actually been on both.
Oh,
Carnival is a little bit more expensive. No, sorry. Royal is a little bit more expensive than Carnival. So there's more amenities, I would say. So that's nicer. But Carnival kind of brings out a little bit more wild people in a good way because it's a little bit cheaper. Like people are there to get fucked up. So like it is there may not be as many amenities, but it's like crazy. Yeah, Carnival. Yeah, I can't remember. Carnival does have good food though. Honestly, I'm a garbage disposal, so all the food was good to me.
Dude, on cruises, do they work like sort of like buffet style, like all day, 24/7?
100%. Yes. Wow. Not 24/7, but they have like certain hour.
Okay,
it's almost 24/7.
8 to 11.
Whatever. Noon. Sure. I mean, lunch is like 12 to 4, whatever. And then, but at night they got like there's this pizza like this. They make fresh pizza, bro, till like 3 a.m. So you're sloshed out there in a pool just fucking folding pizza and eating it like a pig. It is fantastic. Or you're standing like I am over the water like Rose, just fucking.
Dude, I need a cruise where they don't leave. We just stay at
it's not a cruise.
That's what I want.
It's like I want the cruise. I want everything of the cruise minus the cruise. You know,
just no
like
movement.
It's in the name, cruise. It's moving. You know what I mean?
I want anchor. I want to go on anchor. That's
we might have to work on
that. That's what I
want.
Let's do one more question real quick.
That's funny as hell.
Actual Bears one, since we're getting.
Yeah, no, that we're definitely getting derailed, but great questions here. Plastic Rockets on YouTube said, "What past Bears team would you have wanted on Hard Knocks to cover?" I've got one. If you don't,
I don't have one, so let me do this. We begged and begged and begged for them to do it last year. I would have been pissed, thinking of if we did last year and we were just like,
what went down.
Yeah, right. It would just suck. Like compared to what we have this year,
it'd be even worse.
We'd all be tweeting it, being like, I wish we had it this year instead so we could see Caleb and blah, 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 blah. So that's my team. I thank God it didn't land on that.
Bro, you imagine a Bears civil war that happened in Twitter world, right? Which is not a true civil war, I get, but it was like chaotic. You imagine how much worse, like you don't even think it could be worse, but it would have been 10 100%. Times worse.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Imagine the clips, dude. Imagine the clips.
Oh,
like even so like this is our year, and Fields being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do blah blah blah."
Oh my God, I'm so glad that did not happen.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, so that's I didn't even Jack. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's better than what team would you want? What team did you not want?
We bagged, man, and we were pissed. I don't even remember who got it. That's how. That wasn't Detroit, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Got it. Wow, yeah, time flies, man. But yeah, so I mean, thank God it wasn't us. So that's mine. What's your team that you would want?
Okay, so from an entertainment standpoint, any team that was with like 2016, 2017, before John Fox. Who was that head coach? I can't think of that came from Canada. The offensive coordinator guru. That was like chaotic. There's stories that come out all the time. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Was Trestman before Fox?
Trestman. Yes, Mark Trestman. The stories that have come up from players during that time and that regime is like, that is shit show, bro.
And then he got hired to Baltimore, I think is what it was. Like it was like he got a job still. But yeah, keep going.
I'm saying that would have been fun. Like obviously they would have not painted this team in a good light, and it would have been more of like reality TV because like what the fuck. But the next team I would have loved to see, I think 2018. I think most people agree on it just because of success, the unexpected success. That'd have been great. Yeah. But we wouldn't have maybe known that prior, so I don't know if it'd been as good. You know what I mean?
Mitch would have been a character, man. He would have been fun to watch.
It would have been fun. We wouldn't have had Khalil yet, though, because he didn't come till like right before week 1. Actually, the anniversary was like yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago. So 6 years ago. But I would actually go back to, and I think this was Trestman years, but like good years, I think, with maybe it was like early Trestman, but Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, Martellus Bennett, like Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte. I think Olin was still there. Like those years would have been like fire. And if not that, take me back to any Lovie Smith years. They didn't have Hard Knocks back then, but you want to talk about the last time this team has been successful for a span of at least 4 years plus. Like even Lovie Smith's last year, he was above 500. So like they won games, and you have some of the players that we have grown to love and have been staples in our mind because we were like kids then. Brian Urlacher, Devin Hester, Olin Kreutz, like Charles Tillman, Lance Briggs, like people we've fallen in love with. And even some no names that we still remember, like Hunter Hillemeyer, you know what I mean? Things like that, like Alex Brown, stuff like I could go on for ages, like just tons of people during that time. I think would have been fantastic to see and especially because they were winning games. Made it to the NFC North. I mean, made it to the NFC Championship twice. Made it to a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like they were doing stuff.
Real quick, the lights that they were talking about at House Hall, and they were like, "And orange means championship." There were like 15 orange ones.
No. You know why?
I was looking around. I was like, "What the hell?"
No. Championships, not Super Bowls.
How many
Super Bowl era?
How many have there been?
They've got like 50? You know we're I think we're number 2 in NFL history with championships.
And
we're one of the old because of the
we're counting some old. Okay.
So the Super Bowl didn't start until the 60s. So the NFL has been a league since 1920, and the Bears, the Chiefs, the Packers were some of the earlier founding teams of the NFL. I think the Chiefs were that formed the AFC. The Bears and Packers were NFC. So for 40 years, they were doing championships. It wasn't until like 63 that they created the Super Bowl, and that's what people now, count like Super Bowl era.
Well, then that's some shit because they said that and he did that championship, and then they cut to the 85 light. And then again, because it's to mass audience, I don't feel like I didn't assume he'd be like Super Bowl champ. He would just say like that because it's theatrical, whatever. But then then they did the pan out, and there were like 55 orange ones. And at my mind, I was just like, what the hell did I miss? I got 3 texts from friends too in a group chat, and we were like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What did I miss?
So the Bears have 9 NFL championships. 8 of them are prior to the AFL NFL merger, and then they have 1 Super Bowl. So in total, they have 10, I think. And so they are second. So I was right. They are second behind the Green Bay Packers, I think.
We're 1 for 10
in championships. Yeah, we're 1 for 10. And they also, because they are one of the oldest franchises, and they actually pump out great players, like not great teams, but great individual players. They have the most Hall of Famers in NFL history. And they enshrined 3 more this year with Mongo, Peppers, and Hester. So 1 Super Bowl, but hella great players that we've
wasted.
Yes.
And then I also did think you were going to age yourself with that last question about which team you would want. I thought for sure you're going to pull some shit like the 85 Bears would have been really fun to watch with.
Why you think I'm 50?
No. I'm just saying, like, your old ass would be like, oh yeah, I would love to watch the 85 Bears.
I see what you're saying.
What a cliche answer. I thought for sure you were going to drop.
No, I mean, I'd love to see Walter, but like, I mean, the defense was dominant, but bro, I want to see scoring touchdowns. And 85 Bears did, other than Walter Payton, they were not scoring. They were not passing the ball, or if they were, it was to Walter Payton, which is why he's 5th on our all-time wide receiver receiving yards. Like, I've seen all the Walter Payton highlights, so I've gotten what I needed from that team. I mean, the defense was stacked too with like Richard Dam Hampton, things like that. So that's fire. But like, I've seen amazing defenses even in my lifetime. 2018, not that long ago. 2006 as well. Like during those years with Lovey. So I want to see some firepower on offense, and I think this year might be that time. It might be. This could be it. Do we have any other questions though, Jack?
We don't have any other questions. I have one more thing I wanted to bring up because we're over time, and this is my last time to shine before Dave comes back. So, real quick, this episode, this whole series, I've sort of had this thought trickling in my mind, and I want to pick your brain on it. We are like the most dated franchise in history of sports, it feels like to me. Like we just don't change anything. We don't change stadiums. We don't change uniforms. We don't swear on Hard Knocks, like things like that. We're very dated. And with that, I feel like we've been stuck in this Monsters of the Midway.
100%.
Okay, so you feel the same way that
I already know. Yep, I've thought this for a minute.
Do you feel that that's gone now, and we're on the path of like we're just going to play the way the Chiefs would, or we're going to have the same like aura and feeling that the Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, like just the normal damn like respectable franchises, and not like Bearweather, this, that. We're going to hit you harder.
There's two things. And again, I love that you asked this question because it ties back in to the beginning and everything within this episode. It starts at the top. It used to be they rechanged the organization, right? They had an organizational shift.
Yep.
Where men like owners, McCaskies, no longer like are really involved in the football stuff, which is fantastic, right? Like I said, nothing against the McCaskies. They're great people, right? At least from what we know and what people who are within the building talk about all the time. But you brought in Kevin Warren, very modern thinking, right? Has shown it, Big Ten, done stuff out of the box, right? You saw the stadium he built in Minnesota, right? You have someone like that. Then you have Ryan Poles. You said, do stuff like Kansas City. Ryan Poles came from Kansas City. He saw how it was built over there.
Right.
And you're starting to see that over here. So, yes, I think they have the right people in charge that are actually doing the football operations, right? The restructuring of the organization that I think is going to actually benefit this team. For the first time in Bears history, we have an actual CEO of the team. I mean, president, CEO, whatever you want to call it, right? That's huge. That's why when the Kevin Warren hire happened from the beginning, I was like, I don't think people understand the impact of what this is, right? And we've seen it with little things trickling down. One of the first things, because I follow a lot of beat reporters, they talk about how like the food on game days and whatnot is just garbage. Not like the food for the fans, but like how like the food they'd bring out for the beat reports because they got to eat during the game and whatnot, like fire and whatnot. It'd be like, it's just not there. Kevin Warren came in right away and was like, no, let's change that. Like little things like that. Kevin Warren went through and interviewed every single person from top to bottom to figure out the pain points, what's working, what's not. And you see Ryan Poles does the same thing with his coaching staff. So I just think you have this new person, like these people are not putting their egos above the benefit of this organization. Whatever aspect it is, team building, stadium experience, fan experience, all that stuff. I feel like it's just a shift and it started from the top. And I think that's just the icing on the cake. The stamp of Hard Knocks is like, we've got the right people running the show. Thank God. And you got to give credit to George McCaskey because at the end of the day, he had to take a step back. He had to get the right people in. A lot of owners don't do that. A lot of owners. Yeah, like go to Dallas and tell me if that would work over there. Right. So, yeah. I think overall
we're getting away from that. Again, maybe I'm just young and whatever. That's what everyone would respond to me is like, you're young. You don't know what Monsters of the Midway really meant. Fuck that, dude. I'm over that. Like even working at Soldier Field, like it was like all the pictures around the stadium were all like
they're old. Everything's old
through 2000s. It's like we have,
because that's the last time we've been successful.
Old. I'm sick of it, man.
Yeah, it's the last time we've been successful, bro.
Okay,
so that's
fair. I'm glad you said that.
Or we get a flash in the pan of success. It's not multiple years. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But you know what? This is a great comment here. Alex said they need to move back to Berman A. That would be great, but that's not going to happen because of the player aspect. They moved to first of all, shout out Ryan Pace. He built that new facility at Hallis Hall, right? And upgraded and all that shit. He spearheaded that. So credit for them. But they want to create a great football team, and having your own practice stadium like that is how you do it.
It's definitely
you can manage everything within. So I know it sucks from a fan experience because there's only a certain amount of way to get tickets and things like that. I get that. They need to kind of fix that situation, but this is
you ever
sure it was. No.
Oh my
I'm sure
God.
It was.
It was just the best.
But I think this is going to benefit the team. This is going to benefit the team more. And that's why you see now with most of these NFL teams, they're building their own practice, facilities. And they're no longer, because Bears weren't the only one that would go to like a college campus and like, do practice or do a training camp. A lot of these teams aren't doing that anymore. They want more control about what they can control. And so like, they want to own their stuff just like a stadium. So yeah. You got any other questions? I know we've been going on for a minute, but it was just so good of an episode. We had to talk it.
I don't think I have any other questions, and they definitely don't have any other questions.
Oh, that's perfect. Then let's go to the shout outs real quick, and then we'll sign off. All right. So we got Tito, True OG. Thank you for the $5 super chat earlier. #OG. We got Giovanni Garcia, who's another OG. We appreciate that with a bear down. Much love. Alex Hamilton, another true OG. #OG. I guess I just said hashtag.
Yeah, okay. I was waiting.
You know what? That's gonna be like, that's kind of been a theme of the Hard Knocks episodes, because like it's like the OGs are in here this late. Like I said, it's 11:30 for me, or like some of these people. So yeah, you got to be a true OG to be in here. So we appreciate it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Again, before you go, or if you're rewatching this later, please give a like and subscribe, and go ahead and hit that notification bell on YouTube so you can be notified when we go live. And then also for our Apple and podcast listeners, we don't forget about y'all. We really do appreciate it. Any way you watch the show, much love. If you want to leave a review, 5-star would be great and fantastic. But even if it's 4-star, 3-star, whatever it is, if you want to leave feedback, we love that as well. Because again, the goal of this is just create the best show for y'all, the best experience, working on creating better content, some live experiences, hopefully here in the future, to just deliver value to y'all. Because again, we're Bears fans like you, and we just want to create that awesome environment where we can just like come here and vent after a loss, or come here and celebrate, pop champagne after a win. So I'm just excited for this season, Jack. And it's literally 5 days away, almost 4 for me. Like this is fucking crazy. You have any final words?
You know what I'm gonna say?
What's up? I know what you're gonna say.
Go Bears.
Yeah, there it is. All right, y'all. We'll check y'all on our pregame show next Thursday, or this upcoming Thursday. I think we'll let you know. We'll be back this week once Dave gets settled in. But we'll see you next time. Peace.